Okay, so weight loss, right? I think everyone's been there at some point, trying to shed a few pounds, and it's like a roller coaster, up and down with motivation and setbacks.
Yeah.
But what if we could bring in like data science to predict weight loss? That's what we're diving into today.
Yeah, it really is this fascinating kind of intersection of personal health and this cutting edge technology.
Totally. So we're looking at this blog post by Alexandra Gomes. He's a data scientist, and he decided to apply machine learning to his own weight loss journey. And get this, he was on the keto diet.
Yeah, he had a very interesting approach. So he very meticulously tracked his weight every week for 8 weeks. He starts out at 146.9 kilograms on August 25th, and he ends up at 131.7 kilograms
Yeah.
by October 19th.
Wow, okay, so really precise measurements, which is perfect when you want to analyze data. But then he like takes it a step further. He uses a DNN. I'll be honest, I needed some help with this one.
Yeah, DNN stands for Deep Neural Network. You can think of it as like a sophisticated computer program that learns from data, like a detective piecing together clues. So in this case, it's analyzing Gomes's weight data over time, right? And it's looking for these patterns, these connections.
Oh, so it's not just crunching numbers, it's like actively searching for patterns and connections.
Yeah.
That's really cool. But weight loss, it's not always a straight line down, is it?
No, exactly. It's what we call nonlinear.
Hmm.
I always think of it like driving in traffic. You know, you speed up, you slow down, you hit some red lights. It's not a constant speed, but you're still making progress toward your destination. It's similar with weight loss.
Okay, so we've got Gomes, and he's using this DNN to look at his weight loss data. But then he brings in the Harris-Benedict equation.
That's right. This equation is used to help calculate your BMR, which is basal metabolic rate. It's basically how many calories your body just burns by existing, just like breathing, keeping your heart beating, all those essential functions. Then you can factor in, your activity level, and that gets you to your TDE, which is your total daily energy expenditure.
So he's kind of comparing what he actually lost to like what he should be losing based on calories in, calories out.
Exactly. And this is where it gets really interesting because he found that his weight loss continued like pretty consistently, even when his calorie deficit, if you look at the Harris-Benedict calculations, even when that seemed to level off.
Huh. That is fascinating. I wonder why his weight loss kept going even when the calorie math plateaued.
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question. It definitely suggests that there's more to weight loss than just the simple calories in versus calories out. Perhaps the body actually becomes more efficient at using calories over time. Like think about it like a car engine becoming more fuel efficient. Or maybe the types of calories actually matter more when you're on a keto diet, which is high in fats and protein. I think this is an area where further research would be really valuable.
Yeah, it's like there's a whole hidden layer of complexity in weight loss, right? So Gomes does mention the Python code that he used for his analysis. I'm not a programmer, but I think it's pretty amazing that we can still understand what he did, even without being coders.
Oh, for sure. It's really about using data to get insights into a personal journey. And speaking of those calorie calculations, Bart Collett, he actually commented on Gomes's blog, and he made a really good point. Calculating BMR, it's not an exact science.
So even more nuanced than we initially thought.
Exactly. He suggested some other methods like the Mifflin-St. Jean formula or even using smart scales for a more accurate picture. Oh, and he also recommends MyFitnessPal, especially for tracking a keto diet, which I think is a great practical tip.
Yeah, that's super helpful. Getting bonus tools along with our deep dives. So we've seen how Gomes combined his weight data with the DNN, those calorie calculations, and we got some really interesting questions about how weight loss really works. But where do we go from here? What are the bigger implications of all of this?
That is a great question, and it's one that we'll definitely dive into further as we continue to explore Gomes's fascinating experiment. I think what's really exciting about all of this is the potential for personalized weight management. Imagine instead of just using generic calorie calculators and those one-size-fits-all diet plans, what if you had an app that could actually learn your unique metabolic patterns?
Okay, that sounds super futuristic, but I kind of love it. So instead of just logging what I eat, it's analyzing how my body responds to different foods or activity levels.
Exactly. It could be tracking your weight fluctuations, like how much energy you're using, even things like how the quality of your sleep is affecting your metabolism. And then it could use machine learning to generate predictions and recommendations that are hyper-specific to you.
Whoa. So no more blindly following the latest fad diet. Or blaming myself when I hit a plateau that my body was basically going to hit anyway. It'd be like having a personalized roadmap for weight loss.
Yeah, That's the idea. Of course, there would be challenges. We'd need really robust algorithms and these huge data sets to train those algorithms on. And we need to figure out how to make sure people's privacy and data are secure. But the possibilities are huge.
This is making me think, could we use this data-driven approach for other stuff too, not just weight loss?
Oh, absolutely. Think about personalized learning plans that adapt to a student's strengths and weaknesses,
Mm.
or financial planning tools that actually take into account your spending habits and your risk tolerance. We're already starting to see it in some places, like music recommendations.
It's like having a personal assistant who actually gets to know you, and can help you make better choices.
That's a really great point. I think a key takeaway here is that even though Gums's experiment seems kind of like a quirky DIY project, it actually gives us this glimpse into a future where data can help us understand ourselves and our bodies in a whole new way.
It's like we're cracking the code of our individual operating systems. We've talked a lot about the potential, but are there any downsides, any risks we should be thinking about?
Yeah, that's an important point. I mean, as exciting as all of this is, we need to be realistic about the limitations. Like, if we rely too much on data, we might end up overlooking other important factors. Things like mental well-being, stress levels, or underlying medical conditions. All of that can impact weight too.
So it's not just about blindly following the numbers. It's more like using the data as a tool, but remembering to look at the bigger picture too.
Exactly. Data can be incredibly insightful, but it shouldn't replace advice from medical professionals or a good understanding of each person's individual situation. It's about finding that balance.
Data as a tool in the toolbox, not the whole toolbox.
That's a great way to put it. And, as all of this technology keeps developing, it's really crucial to have these open conversations about responsible and ethical data use.
For sure. It's on all of us to make sure these advancements are used in a way that benefits everyone. This has been so eye-opening. We've seen a real-world example of how someone used data science to work towards a personal health goal. We've talked about personalized approaches and how important it is to think about all of this stuff in a balanced way.
What's standing out to you the most from all of this?
I think for me, it's just the sheer possibility. Like we're right on the edge of this new era where data can help us understand ourselves in these really profound ways, but with that power comes a responsibility to stay engaged, to ask the tough questions, and to make sure all of this technology is being used ethically and for good.
I agree completely. It's an exciting time, and Gomes's work shows us just how innovative people are being with data.
Speaking of which, Gomes actually encourages readers to check out some of his other blog posts, especially the ones on computer vision projects.
That's great. It's always inspiring to see people like him pushing the boundaries and sharing their knowledge.
Okay, so we've covered a lot today. We looked at Gomes' experiment, talked about the good and the bad of personalized weight management, and we talked about how important it is to use data responsibly. Now it's time to think about what this all means for you, our listener.
What are you taking away from all of this? What insights will stick with you, and how might this change how you think about your own health and wellness?
We took a deep dive into Alexander Gones' blog post, but now it's your turn to explore.
It's funny, we often think of weight loss as this really personal thing, almost like a solitary journey. But what Gomes did was connect it to this whole world of data, algorithms, and personalized insights. Yeah, it is a pretty big shift in perspective. By using this data-driven approach, he's basically reframing weight loss as this puzzle to be solved, a system to be understood. And I think that understanding can really empower people to make better choices.
I have to admit, when we talk about machine learning and AI, I get a little intimidated. Is this something only like super techie people can do?
I think that's a really common misconception. I mean, yeah, Gomes's project used code, but the ideas behind it are something anyone can grasp. You don't need to be a programmer to see how powerful data can be or to start thinking about how to use it to improve your life.
So it's more about changing how we think about it, recognizing that data can be this really valuable tool, even for things like health and wellness.
Exactly. And as this technology gets easier to use, I think we're going to see a lot more people experimenting with their own data, just like Gomes did. It's all about being curious and wanting to learn.
And that's what the deep dive is all about. So we've taken a deep dive into Gomes' blog post, explored using machine learning to maybe predict weight loss, and we've uncovered some really interesting questions about the future of personalized health. But the real journey starts now with you, our listener.
What will you take away from this deep dive? Maybe you'll be inspired to explore your own data, track your progress, or just approach your health goals with a fresh perspective.
We just scratched the surface here.
Hmm.
But hopefully, this sparked some ideas for you and gave you a glimpse into what data can do. Remember, it's not about blindly trusting the numbers. It's about using them as a tool to learn more about yourself and to make better choices. Stay curious, explore, experiment, and most importantly, keep learning.